You're a motovlogger and you want to be able to capture the audio of your group ride along with your video. Not an easy task until now.
This video is sponsored by Cruiseman's Garage Honda Goldwing Maintenance Video Series.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Cruiseman's Garage. I'm Cruiseman, and today I'm going to talk about something that's very exciting for those of you who are motovloggers and you ride in a group with other riders and you got the helmet communications going, especially if you're using Sena products and especially if you're using open mesh. Now, Sena recently reached out to me to talk to you about this Sena Meshport Red. Very cool product. It's basically a bridge between Bluetooth communications and their mesh technology. Now, I do want to point out up front, Sena's not sponsoring the video. No money has changed hands, but they did send me this Meshport Red so I could show it to you, review it, and give it a thorough test. First of all, let me go back and tell you what's involved in recording audio from a group ride onto video. It can be very, very complicated, as you already know if you've tried to do this. Now, some of the older Sena headsets had a port that you could plug into. I know Don Smith did this on his Sena with his GoPro camera, and he was able to rig up a way to record the audio of a group ride on his GoPro. I believe he had a Hero 8. I'm not sure, maybe a 9, 10, doesn't matter. But it was clunky and it was clumsy. He's even got a video out there to show how he did it. So I'll put a link in this video to his video. Now, the Meshport Red itself is a small device. You see it here. And it basically has one single button. They call this a multi-function button because it does several different things. And you have a charging port on the side. Unfortunately, it's micro USB. I kind of hoped they would go with USB-C because almost everything now is USB-C, but nevertheless, this is how the unit is charged. I'll put the battery life on the screen so you know how long this battery will last on a ride. And they give you several different mounting options. Let's see. You get, of course, the manual, but you also get some different clamp style mounting systems, one that would wrap around your handlebars. So they give you at least three, one that has a double-sided adhesive mount. So they do give you some different options for mounting this to your motorcycle. Now, this will need to be mounted within Bluetooth range of your GoPro camera. How does this work? How do you set it up? It's important to note that this only works with a GoPro Hero 12. It will not work with earlier versions of the GoPro. Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open this up and get it fully charged. And then you're going to want to download the Sena Meshport app. Yes, there is a separate app, and it's the Sena Meshport app. And when you open that app, it's going to look for this Meshport device. Okay, so now you can see the Meshport is in what they call pairing mode right now, which means it's flashing blue and red. And you'll notice that in the app, I see Meshport Red 3F57. I don't know what that means, but I don't know what the 3F57 means. Okay, if I open it up, I can see the current firmware version, and this one is current. It's 1.42. If you have an older firmware version on your Meshport, you're probably going to want to go to the Sena Device Manager, and if you plug this into your computer using the USB port, which they do give you a cable for that, you can use that to update the firmware. This is also showing that we're on channel 1. You can change the channel by selecting it and pick whatever. This is your mesh channel, your open mesh channel, and we are set to channel 1. Now, the next thing you want to do is we want to turn on our GoPro. This is the Hero 12. I'm going to turn it on. We want to go to settings, swipe down. We want to swipe left, And you'll notice an option here for pair device. So if we press, this is something that's unique to the GoPro Hero 12. The 10, 11s don't have this feature, but the 12 does. So we can pair the device, and it's going to tell you that it's ready to pair to the GoPro Quick app or other Bluetooth compatible device. Now, it automatically went out. It took it a couple of seconds, but it found the Meshport Red. That was the same number we saw earlier in the Meshport app. So go ahead and click plus, and that will pair your GoPro to this Meshport. Okay, and once you get out of that settings, you're still on this third page. I call it the third page of your settings. You can now see it is paired to that, and at the very top of your screen, it shows you that code. That doesn't really mean anything. I kind of wish they would just say Meshport or something to let you know what it is, but that's okay. It's there. It is paired. Now, here's some important things to know. When you hit the record button, if it's paired with this Meshport Red, it's going to expect audio to come through that Bluetooth channel. So it will bypass the internal microphones on your GoPro. You will no longer be getting sound recorded through the GoPro. Now, all we should have to do is put on our Sena communicator. In my case, I've got a Sena Impulse helmet. The thing I like about Open Mesh is you basically don't have to pair anybody together, any devices together. As soon as you're in the proximity with someone else who has a Sena Mesh device, if you're all have Open Mesh turned on, you're automatically communicating as long as you're on the same channel. Now, by default, everything goes to channel 1, so it should work fine. We know that our mesh port is set to channel 1. I have never changed the channel on my Sena helmet, so it should be set to channel 1. Let me put my helmet on, turn it on. Okay, so I've got my helmet on. I've got my GoPro Hero 12 it's on, and it is paired to the mesh port. Let me turn on the headset.
Hello.
I'm not sure if mesh is turned on yet or not. We'll see in a second. On this system, there is a mesh button, so I'm going to go ahead and press it.
Mesh intercom on.
Mesh intercom on. Open Mesh. Channel 1. When I hit record on this GoPro camera, it should be receiving audio through this Meshport Red from my helmet, from my microphone on my communicator. Let's hit record. Now, when I hit record, I did get a little beep in my helmet to let me know that it's recording. Okay, so now this is my GoPro camera, Hero 12, and it's recording me, and it should be getting the audio through the Meshport Red. This is really, really cool. Now, I know you can hear me here. This is audio coming from my Sony camera through my microphone up here above me. And now I'll switch to the audio coming through the GoPro, video on the GoPro coming through the Meshport Red. Now, obviously, you're not going to get the same audio quality that you would get in a studio or even with a lavalier mic. But what's very revolutionary and cool about this is now you can record your group rides. Anything coming through this mesh network will be recorded on the GoPro camera. So my next test will be with Robert White. He also has a mesh communicator on his Shoei helmet, and we will go for a ride and we'll test this out where you should be able to hear both of us. The bottom line is I'm going to stop recording on this. So what makes this so revolutionary is now you can record audio even if you're a single rider. You could use this just for motovlogging. And you don't have to have a media mod. You don't have to have a lavalier mic. You don't have to have a Rode wireless mic or however you're doing your audio now. that almost is a compelling argument to move from, in my case, I had a GoPro Hero 10. That would almost be a compelling argument to move up to the Hero 12 just for this feature alone. Now, you also have to purchase the Meshport Red to get this feature, but it's a very, very cool feature. And like I say, if you're a motovlogger, you're riding in groups and you want to be able to record that group conversation, it just makes it really, really simple and seamless. I think this is a great product from Sena. My next video will be a more in-depth where we actually do a group ride. Robert and I'll be riding together, communicating back and forth, and we'll see how that works. The first time I tested this, I didn't know if it was working because I had recorded audio through the mesh, and it was recording the audio, but when I would play it back on the GoPro, I couldn't hear any audio. So you have to have this device turned off. You have to have the pairing between the GoPro open mesh device or the mesh device turned off before it will let you hear the audio on any recordings you make through that mesh. Just one little tip so you don't get freaked out if you play this back and you don't hear any audio. It's not that it didn't record it, it's just not letting you hear it until you unpair from the mesh. And you basically just hold this button down and it will turn itself off. If you like this video, do me a favor, please give it a thumbs up. That really does help my YouTube rankings. And let me know in the comments down below if you're a motovlogger. Do you have a Hero 12? Have you struggled with getting recordings of group rides? Because I think this is a really, really cool innovation from Sena. And I'll put links in the description down below where you can check it out and order it if you want to. And thanks again for joining me today. I will see you on the next Cruiseman's Garage. Remember what I always say, ride often, but ride safe.